I guess some people are going to come later. Maybe, maybe not. That's bad luck for them. Let's start. We're talking about the possible effects of the electromagnetic pollution. I should turn this thing on. And this is actually a walk through the scientific studies of the last 50 years. So what you have to understand, I'm an old fart, so really old, like old. And as I grew up, there is a study that back in those days, we had a few trillion times less electromagnetic pollution than we have nowadays. I would love to show you this study, but the guy never responded who did the study, so I never got his paper and I can't draw this paper. So as I was a kid, I grew up in East Germany, and in East Germany, if you wanted to meet somebody, you said we meet like 3 p.m. and guess what you did? You be there at 3 p.m. because there was no cell phone. You could not say I'm late. And if you're late, you didn't like it, so you be there at 3 p.m. What if you wanted to meet somebody and he's not there? Well, they had a little, looked like toilet paper, a little roll, what you could write down, I was here. And then he knew that he was there. That's like an answering machine in the old days. So this talk is proudly presented by the Department of Defense, sure enough. And since we talk about medical studies, sure enough, I had to get these guys into there. Right? First of all, I want to thank the cool girls and guys here from BruCon, from BakaCon to organize this awesome conference. Thank you to all the volunteers, and sure enough to Milos and Jelena. It is awesome to give us as speakers a platform and to give to you guys an awesome conference. So thank you for that. Sure enough, with every of my talks, there's a disclaimer. So if you're easily offended, please come and sit in front or leave the room. Pretty short, who am I? I'm an old hacker. They call me Aluc. And what is a hacker? There used to be an RFC 2828. They now changed the RFC number, but basically it's someone who figures things out and makes something cool happen. So the question, we have some rules of engagement in my talks. And the rules of engagement says, who am I to lecture you? You're all adult people, you're all experienced in whatever you're doing, so let's work together. And we have a little rule of engagement which say, who works together, who parties together, right? So we have here this little weapon of choice, which is a bottle of rakia. And if we party together, we sure enough have cups. That means when we work together, we can drink together. Is this okay with you guys? Awesome. So what is the motivation of this talk? I was like sitting and watching some YouTube stuff, and there are people saying, 5G is evil. I say, okay, 5G is evil. Well, why is 5G evil? Because it's evil. All right, so what is 5G? What makes it so evil? It's evil. Okay, I just kind of don't get it. Why is it evil? Can you tell me why? And people start talking. So the first thing what we do is we check out waves. So who knows about microwaves? Who of you knows about microwaves? Okay, which type of microwave frequencies do you know? When we look at our frequency band, we have a band and there's a part of it is microwaves. And which type of waves do you know? Like the EHF, for instance. Do you know this stuff? EHF, like SHF and UHF? You know the stuff. Can you tell me what EHF is? So just in rough words. Do we have a second microphone? Do we have a second microphone? We are heroes.
You You chose me because I'm almost as old as you are, right?
Almost. But guess what? Almost don't count. It's like almost pregnant.
Yeah, true, true. So when I was a kid, we used to have VHF and UHF.
Yes.
Being very high frequency and ultra high frequency.
Yes.
If I recall.
Okay. Do you know round about the EHF which frequency band you got?
No.
It's like 30 to 300 gigahertz.
Oh, I get some fuel. Thank you.
Fuel for your voice, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Since we abused your voice, you need to fuel, right? So, who wants to be fueled on talking about SHF? SHF, no one? You? Well, those are super high frequencies and between 3 gigahertz and 30 gigahertz. And then we're talking about UHF, which most of you guys, oh no, you're too young. You know UHF, right? Huh? Television, yeah. Guess what? I'm in East Germany. I had my family, we had a very old black and white TV, and it only could do VHF. So I had to build a little converter so we got the antenna to the converter into the TV, and then you could, on several channels, you could actually receive UHF. So, why we sorted this? Because these letters might come up in the talk later a little bit on, so just get it into your brains. Let's talk about microwaves. Where do we find microwaves? Let's say naturally. Is there any way to find microwaves in a natural environment? It's like, huh? Kitchen is not natural. High in the sky? Can you be more precise?
There is microwave
background noise and yes. Yes. You're talking about these ones, right? Just another one. More fuel for you. Well, you guys should work with us. There's more fuel. Do you like the taste? Perfect. So you can tell Milos that you kept the choice, right? And since we're friends, we always drink together. Because otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Prost. What else we do have? Is there more like a natural way of getting some microwaves? What? Use a weapon?
Normal isotope decay.
Yeah. What about this one? Okay, we go to something easier. What's about artificial? Who knows artificial types of microwaves? The microwave oven in the kitchen.
No alien fruit.
Bad luck for you guys, this one is gone.
DSM.
Wait, one by one. If you want to get me drunk, you need to do it slower. Or faster. So we got the microwave oven in the kitchen. That wouldn't be my first choice since this is not the strongest one we got. Do we got anything with millimeter waves? Millimeter waves, for just to say, is a microwave just in a higher frequency band. So a millimeter wave is nothing separate to a microwave. It is a microwave, just in a higher band. So do we got anything millimeter wave? What? Lights. What else? But I want something strong. Oh, you got a big one. But I want something stronger than light. Radar! Yeah, that's my man. Radar is also on 81 gigahertz. I'm driving. Radar! Just come up there. I can't walk all the day. Just come up here, get your glass. Radar is good. Radar is gone, microwave is gone. What else do we have?
Carbon monoxide detectors, then they have some ingredient with very high radiation. Yes.
High radiation is the question. Which type of radiation? We're talking about microwave.
Gamma rays.
Gamma ray is way above microwave in the frequency band.
Cheers.
Cheers. So what's about this one? Cell phones. Who said cell phone before? Someone did. Right? We get this bottle empty. Come on. Set TV.
It's empty? You give me empty glass?
Yes, I give you empty glass because otherwise I cannot fill it. It's like with knowledge. If you don't empty your mind, you cannot learn anything new. Don't you say Prost or something like this in your country? Is it the way to just run away? All right. Wireless LAN circuits, transmitter towers, which is a big emitter anyway. So as I looked at this, I found out, okay, we have microwaves, and our 5G works with actually millimeter waves. So that's evil. And then I got the outcry of more researchers. And I had to hear this researcher. Who of you guys know David Icke? What does he do? Writing books about what? Come on. He's a very extremely famous guy. He has a followership of tons and tons of people, a boatload of people following him.
Yeah, he's writing books about some theories of also of conspiracies, and I think also for aliens.
Yeah, reptile aliens.
Yes.
Who of you guys is a reptile alien? Ah, then let's go. Have a drink. A reptile alien drink.
I'm not driving.
And sure enough, you're not surprised that he has a take on 5G. Because 5G is an evil weaponry. First of all, define evil. I mean, a weapon cannot be evil. The one who uses the weapon can be evil. The weapon by itself cannot be evil. So who knows the millimeter wave guns? You know the millimeter wave guns? What does it do? Yes. It heats up your body. What happens then?
You get like hot and feeling like burned and break down.
It's not exactly what happens. What exactly happens is you feel a tickling feeling, which tends to hurt after a while if you go closer to the source of the frequency. And what this makes is, since it hurts you, you will run away. So this weapon, is it then evil? No, the weapon by itself is not evil. So if you look at this evil weapon, it works on a distance up to 1,000 meters and it has a frequency of 95 gigahertz. So Mr. Icke says we got this evil problem.
Very much, sir.
And he actually says it's the same stuff what they use for 5G, which is not totally correct because 5G runs in Europe in between 5 and 24.7 gigahertz. 95 gigahertz is not exactly 25.7. In the United States, it will be another band in between 60 and 75 gigahertz, which also is not matching the 95 gigahertz. So therefore, his evil weaponry theory is busted. I'm sorry. No evil weapons here. But we got more experts. More experts are good. What do you think about this, experts? This lady actually, in Russia today, a little plumper lady said, yeah, we have Dr. whatever his name was, and he said it's evil because it's evil, and then he was not allowed to talk. She mentioned the name of a doctor, which is a good start. She failed to mention which paper he released. That makes it hard for us to follow her sentence. And she didn't mention which university and stuff like this. So as a source of education, it's a little bit, I would say, at least difficult. Okay. We got more experts. This guy is a self-claimed expert. He is an IT guy. We're all IT guys, so he's good. Isn't he? It's IT guy, must be good, isn't he? All right, and he said, actually he drew papers on his talk. It's a talk in Barclays, and he drew paper. He had a paper from the University of Stockholm, and he had several other papers, and that makes him much better than the guys before. And then he put a claim out, which he said, if somebody in the house I'm living in turns on his Wi-Fi, I get a headache. That is a possible, but he failed to provide us with a study and a blind test or a double-blind test, so he just failed to provide us with a proof of his claim, which in a university is at least difficult. Wouldn't you agree? Who knows? What can we do? I got an option. What about this? Does this help?
Yesterday, one guy,
Yes, he had a noodle thing on.
Pastafari, that is not
You know what the problem is? Those rude people from the MIT did a study on that. So a group of researchers was using a network analyzer which cost like $250,000. And they fixed some helmets, and they actually tested the helmets with 2.6 gigahertz and down up to 1.2 gigahertz. So from 1.2 up to 2.6 gigahertz they used to put with 30 decibel actually radiation against the helmets, and they measured what's going to happen with that. So they said, okay, there are people out there thinking an aluminum hat is going to help you. Bad luck for you, because they got results, and the results actually says that these helmets actually do not provide any safety against radiation, but they amplify 1.2 and 1.4 gigahertz by about 30 decibels. Now, if you actually looked in the FCC regulations, the 1.2 gigahertz is used by the US government for communication devices such as satellites and GPS, which is amplified. My guess is that's a conspiracy. Somebody must spread the word that aluminum tinfoil hats actually help against, they wanted to be against the government, against manipulation of your brain. So somebody spread it. It must be CIA or something like this, maybe. So if you look at the conclusion, tinfoil hat won't help us. That's bad news. Okay, then let's do a question first. Who benefits from 5G? What do you think? No one? Aliens? Well, almost. You could, yeah, I give you a right one on this. Come get your, fetch your rock here. I'll give you a right one on this. Aliens. Define aliens. Let's define aliens. Aliens are people or beings who not belong to us. Stop. Are you all people like this? You can't even cheer to each other? Cheers. So let's define aliens. Aliens, I would say, it's somebody who has no touch to us, which I say, yes, the industry is alien to us. So sure enough, the industry has a benefit because it can track you in real time. That's okay. So if you have 5G, you have a lot of speed, you have a lot of bandwidth, and they can track all the devices in real time. That's much faster than LTE.
government, they make a shit ton of money selling the license for that.
The government is a good idea. I didn't even think about it. Just come over here and get you another rakia. Do you still have your cup? Very good. We are on slide 18 from 47. We're doing good. Just exchange.
Post.
Who else might benefit from 5G? Huh? What's about the industry? If you work with 5G, they say, since that's the nature of the millimeter waves, that they cannot transmit big time. Like if there's a tree, it's a problem. If there's a wall, it's a problem. So by this nature, we have to sell more base stations. And if we sell more base stations, somebody's gonna mount those fucking base stations. So the industry makes some money out of it. So they have a benefit. Wouldn't you agree? Who else got a benefit of?
House owners.
Who?
House owners.
Soldiers?
No. The owners of houses where they install those things because they'll get money as well.
Yeah. Get your drink. Who else benefits? Industry! Hey! You got the word, man. Industry does benefit from it. Why? IoT is short for idiots. Come on. That's a good one. IoT is short for idiots. I'm going to be the last one standing as usually. So the industry, because they can sell you shit you don't need. Who else gonna benefit from 5G? Let's solve it, the industry. Because they can sell your pharma products for diseases you get, which you could not get without 5G. Who else gonna benefit from 5G? You? Because 600 Mbits are not good enough? Really? I mean, I have in my house a 100 Mbits, which is good enough for my work. 600 Mbit is quite fast. If I got Cat 11 with my Netgear Wi-Fi, I got this little Wi-Fi thing, and I was just in Japan, so I put a SoftBank card into it, and that's fucking fast. I mean, I don't need it faster. And I got a flat rate in Germany, which costs tons of money. But Tuesday, I already have 50 gigabytes on my account. So, since I work a lot abroad. So, there were people in the 70s. They already started with studies about this. And these people used to be Russians, because the Russians were really caring about all kinds of stuff. And their medical department did some tests, and when we talk about 1977, then we're talking about 10 years after they started with the test, as you will see. So there are some papers, and in these papers they actually wanted to see which results do we have on microwaves of the power of 1 milliwatt per square centimeter in a range of 5 to 8 centimeters in 15 minutes over a period of 60 days. So a period of 15 minutes per day. Who knows what is the allowed SHR for a cell phone on radiation, which we're talking about milliwatts or watts. How much does a cell phone have? What is allowed? 2 watts in Canada. What's in the US? 1.6 watt. We're talking here about milliwatts. And that's a while ago. They did the study actually in a plant where they produce satellite gear and stuff like this, because cell phones were not available back then. So they have some studies, and here there's this one person from Canada who claims that a cell phone has 1 watt, which exceeds a lot the radiation we see in the studies with the individuals which have been actually subjected to a study. So millimeter waves, if we talk about millimeter waves, again, they have a hard time to be transmitted through walls, through trees, whatever, due to their nature of being so small. And therefore we need more base stations. And I was actually sifting through papers. I found about 300 papers on cell phones themselves, but I only found about only 300 on cell phones, but I found actually on base stations triple as much. For this talk, I only use papers which have a positive outcome, which is for us as the user more likely a negative outcome, but for the researcher, he could prove his point. So we are on that clear, hopefully. So let's go to the first one. The first one they tested, let me check, on the exchange of, they go for the, for the blood serum change in the first one. So I'm not a medic. Oh, I should put this in the disclaimer. I'm not a medic, so I have to read into the stuff too. And I just gave the talk one time, and just because I was interested into it, and I'm not a medic, I'm a hacker. So I have to read into the stuff too. So they did a test on how does it affect your blood pressure and how does it affect the exchange of serums in your blood. And they could find out that it actually changed the serum and the free amino acid decreasing by, or the free amino acids in your blood will be decreased by 22%, which they found out in this paper. But the Russians were not the only one who do papers like this in the 70s. So we have tons of paper coming out from different agencies used by Russians, or actually created by Russians, created by Americans. So we're not alone with Russian stuff, but that's stuff from the 70s. So there's another paper which come out about microwaves. And this study they conducted on several people. Actually, they used like 800 people, where they had a test group from 355 people, where 275 individuals were male, and 78% people or individuals were female. And they had a control group of 532 individuals, so that's a real study. And we're talking about 411 males and 101 exemplars of females. 168 individuals were a test group, which was a part of a comprehensive group which were actually hospitalized and checked in a hospital. The range of the people or the individuals they used was 24 to age up from 24 years up to 49 years, and the test actually went over 10 years. So we have here a paper which they published in Russia. This paper got stolen by some agents from the CIA, because if you remember, or if you hear it in the news, there was something which we called the Cold War, and if the Russians did a study, the Americans had to steal it. And since Americans sometimes not the brightest flames on the birthday cake, they have to steal shit. Well, what was the outcome of the study? This study was actually, they wanted to find out if millimeter or microwaves have an impact on your blood pressure. So they exposed people who worked in a satellite company to different types of radiation. Actually, the radiation exposure did not exceed 3 hours a day. So they were in between 2 and 3 hours of one day exposed to radiation. And the radiation was, sure enough, a few hundred milliwatts, which is a little bit less than your cell phone does 24 hours a day. Wouldn't you agree? And they find out, actually, here we got the paper, and they actually find out that that had actually significant impact on these people. You see here the changes of blood pressure in the two groups on their measurements, and the outcome was that that male individuals in the age of 40 revealed a reliable change of the blood pressure of both types you have. And that is, in this study, you can see it. So they are actually more than David Icke for you to look at if you want to find out what is this pollution with the EMF. Do we have a problem or don't we have a problem? So there are more studies on this paper. Actually, this paper, you can download this paper. You just look for CIA Russian study on EMF, and you will download one paper which is quite big and has about 30 studies in there. They go from blood pressure, on effect on bones, on effect on your genetics. They go like all the way down, and there's a lot of studies, and the results are not really making you happy if you're onto cell phones. So more papers. So you can see, you can find like tons of shit about this. But let's first of all, when we talk about EMFs, which type of EMF do we have? Which two groups do we have? We're talking about the pollution right now. Which two types of pollution do we have? You the nerd, there. Which type of pollution do we have? Huh? No, we got non-ionizing pollution, which doesn't harm you too much, and we got ionizing pollution, which is actually what they use in the gun, which heats you up, right? The CCC guy, camp guy, upheating. Got me on this? All right. So in our study, we do not look at papers which have ionizing EMFs, because that's bullshit. If you look at papers who got ionizing EMF, well, that kills you. Done, check. No more work. But is your cell phone really ionizing? Who thinks your cell phone is ionizing? No rakia today. And you're right, it's not ionizing. We only look at cell phones, and we do not look at cell towers. I wanted to look at cell towers, but that would be too much papers, and it would blow up the talk to 3 to 4 hours, because on cell towers they found like quadruple of the papers you find on cell phones. You can research this yourself. All papers which we take now are actually peer-reviewed, because a paper which is not peer-reviewed is not peer-reviewed. It's maybe good, maybe not. But meantime, as I prepared to talk for Balcon, something happened in the United States of America. There's a company, they call themselves the Chicago Tribune, and what they do is they sell news. And what is good for news companies? Can you tell me one thing what is good for news companies? What? Scoop? Scandals. Yeah, scandals. Get your cup, get your cup. Who's the second scandal guy? Get your cups. You want more?
No, sure.
Let me first finish mine. How do you produce a scandal? You go easy. You just find a laboratory who measures cell phones. And by this thing we found out that the cell phone SAR in the United States, the SAR is the specific absorption rate, watt per kilogram of your body weight. And the SAR in the United States, allowed SAR is 1.6 watt per kilogram. And they did a measurement quite different than the cell phone manufacturers. The cell phone manufacturers decided that's a good idea to measure your cell phone while you have it here. Or when you wear it in your pants, you wear it here. What's the way they measure it? They measure it in between 11 and 15 millimeters away from your body. But common use of humanoids is more like the individual puts this cell phone in his front pocket, like this, holds to the wall, right? Or he uses it like this, which is less than 10 millimeters, I suggest, and close to my brain. And there's another study where they just did a thermal scan of the brain, and it showed heat up where the cell phone is. And if you go to somewhere where it's older and you keep your phone on your head, and while you're talking, it will be warm. So you're good. Well, they found out, oops, is it Apple? Yeah. They found out, I mean, that's not the only Crapple device they used. They used several of the Crapple devices, so I just used this by chance. Actually, I just took a picture from the first one I got. And you see, well, 1.6, almost. You see what is actually hitting the 1.6, which is allowed in the United States of Schlamerika? No? That's bad luck. Let's try Samsung, maybe they're better. Yeah, they're better, but only when they put it 50 millimeters away from their body, which is not common use, isn't it? Who actually use your phone 50 millimeters away from his ear when he's speaking on it? Bluetooth headset, good. Who uses your phone, his phone, 50 millimeters away from his body while he's carrying it in his pocket? I do, sure, because I don't have one, but yeah, use a public transport, like the guys from Facebook who do not understand the concept of telephone. Yeah, I saw these retards before. But actually, this study of the Chicago Tribune, which is only a newspaper, ended up in a lawsuit. Ain't that funny? And you find this lawsuit online. It's not that it's something secret. And that lawsuit actually happened at the 21st of August. So that's warm. It's still in cooking. All right. There is some, I only go for 3 or 4 papers. I don't want to stress you too much with the medical shit. There's a paper where they say, what is about 900, who knows it's 900 megahertz? What is going on 900 megahertz? Which one? GSM. Go get your drink. Who else said 2G? Yeah, go. Make it so. Engage. Yes.
More Raki.
More Raki for you. I got you already covered. There you are. Hey! As a German, you should at least know what the common procedure is for Rakia.
Really. Nicht lang schnacken, Kopf in Nacken.
You know. You translate. Now you have something in your body what calls microRNA, and the microRNA is actually doing some shit with your genetic stuff, like sorting it out and cleaning it and dividing it. And they said, well, we don't know what's gonna happen with the microRNA while you're exposed to the 900 megahertz radio frequency. So they decided that's a good idea to do a study on that. And they exposed some rats, which is close to human, in my opinion. At least if you once have been to a department store which does on sale for an instant. So they did expose some rats 12 months every day for 3 hours on a frequency of 900 megahertz of RF radiation. And then, sure enough, what you do with the rats, you kill them, take their brain out, and investigate what's going to happen. What the results of the long-term exposure of the RF radiation was that the RMO microRNA and the type 109, which leads to, was actually decreased. And that leads to the conclusion that 900 megahertz actually affects your microRNA, which is a part of your genetics. And if Odin didn't want you to need to have this genetics, he wouldn't put it into you. Wouldn't you agree? So the thing is, they said we should do further investigation. Now, if you, as a person of computer stuff, listen to following thing. I found an exploit on Windows 10, which might result in a remote exploit. Would you put your Windows 10 unprotected, exposed to the network? Who would? No one? You would? No. See? Why do you expose your brain to the cell phones when actually the scientists say, well, we need to investigate this? Good question, isn't it? But more fun. Who's male? That's a lot of Rakia, right? Yeah, females good on this one. By the way, being transgender don't help you on this one. Well, they had like a test, and this is just from the Indian guys, which are named up there. You always see who is doing the paper. And actually, not just these guys came out in this idea, also the guys from the University of Stockholm and a few other universities got the idea that carrying your cell phone here, where I have the Tesla, so here, it's not the brightest idea, because it decreases the production of sperm, can lead to testicle cancer, and, well, bad luck for you. So they got a result on that one, which says that the electromagnetic microwaves actually in the allowed SAR does affect your reproductive health, which means you can transfer less information while having sex. There are more studies like this. I only have 10 minutes, so I'll show you. There's another study, this one, and what they did good graphics. You already see him here getting exposed. Oh, you just go to this website and you find the publication. You don't need to picture it. Just go take a picture of this and you can read the whole publication, because we don't have the time for the whole publication. But in the end of the day, they say, yeah, it can lead to testicle cancer, and it can make you impotent. That's a German word for not be reproductive. Yeah. Let's go to our conclusion. What's our conclusion on this? Try to actually use microwave emitting devices more smart. Nobody's going to put away his cell phone anyway. By the way, I got a question for you guys. And this question was actually suggested to me by one of your fellow attendees. The question is, do you know what's the fastest transferring, much faster than 5G? How do you transfer most information in a second? Sperm! How much?
Roughly 30 gigabytes or something like that?
No. With sperm, you get 15.875 terabytes per ejaculation, which means sex is better than 5G. You get your rakia. Yeah, go!
Okay, it's not optional.
It's not optional.
All right.
You want it, you get it.
Salute. Molot.
Molot actually is a gun production company in Russia. They produce my most favorite AKs. Oh, okay. So what else? Actually, you just try to reduce your exposure per day. I mean, is it really needed that you have it on you all day long? What's about not buying the newest shit from the companies just because they advertise it really funny? And maybe it's a good idea to turn off these devices when you don't need them, like when you sleep. You won't have a reception anyway, because when you sleep you can hear noises, but you cannot compile. And don't listen to me either. So any questions? I know how to turn people away. Yes?
Yeah, the number. The number that we gave for information transfer by sperm is based on what? The amount of information in the DNA and the number of spermatozoids.
Actually, it's one sperm actually transfers 38.7 megabytes, and if you doesn't wear a cell phone all day long, you might get enough sperm to transfer 15 terabytes.
Yeah.
In just 2 seconds from your DNA, in just 2 seconds where you actually ejaculate. But do not forget to compile in your calculation. There is some firewall on the other side, which calls egg.
That's true, but my point being is that the information stored in each spermatozoid is the same. No? Since when? Okay, but it's supposed
actually,
to be
if you want to solve for good, go to Vladan. He is the one who suggested this one.
Okay.
Vladan is not he. Oh, here, there we go. He is the expert on sperm. We call him the spermomator.
Okay, but the point
Guess
I'm trying
what?
to make.
15 terabytes is a lot of information to swallow.
Okay, I'm still claiming that it's not the amount you're giving us. It's smaller.
Well, 37, actually if you don't wear a phone, 38 megabytes per sperm. That's what the science says. But I did not do a paper because he told me this at breakfast, and I did not have time to find the right papers for that. I'm sorry. This is kind of unscientific that I don't have the papers for it. But I'll find you the paper.
No, I mean, fine.
Research on the internet, yeah.
This sounds like
More
something we should
questions.
continue.
We don't have a lot of time. Yes. Give him the microphone. Oh, sorry. He was faster. But your next one.
Thank you for the very interesting presentation. In your daily life, what real countermeasure do you put? Like, for example, when you buy a phone, do you look at the datasheet or test? If you live in an apartment?
I'm just a stubborn old German guy. What I do first is, can I root it easily? So we only have 2 choices, Nokia, which sucks, or OnePlus. So, because with OnePlus I say, fast boot, OEM, unlock. That's an important thing, because then I can make it secure. But in my daily life I stopped carrying a phone, and not because I'm scared of the radiation, but people called me. And that starts to get annoying, so I stopped carrying a telephone. This guy. More rakia for you. Yeah. There's no escaping. The bottle still has something.
I just have an answer for your sperm discussion.
Oh, good man!
You know, if you download a movie twice, you download it twice. You have moved the information, even if it's not unique information.
What do you say? That goes now in between the medics.
He confirms, so we are in agreement.
You're in agreement.
This guy,
Come over here. Get yourself something to drink.
Based on the definition of what is
byte is a byte. Say, you only carry zeros and ones.
Okay. Wait, do you cancel? More questions?
Hi.
Yes.
I have a question.
Microphone.
Hey.
Who got the mic?
I have a question. I have a
You was
question.
first. Okay.
Yeah. So I had a question on the specific absorption rates that is rated on these phones nowadays. Right. I'm not sure if this is throughout the world, but in India, like each phone is supposed to come with supposed to mention the specific absorption rates while being sold, right? It's supposed
If you ever see a spec sheet where they put the SRA on the spec sheet, please click the subscribe button.
So it's a good thing if it is lower, like?
They usually don't put the SAR on it, but the government says in the United States should not be more than 1.6 watt per kilogram, and in Canada it's 2. I don't even know the whole world because there are many different specifications. But if you ever find a cell phone advertisement which says the SAR, click the subscribe button. Get your drink. Hey, wait.
Okay.
Always drink together, never drink alone. That's a bad behavior, bad manners.
Okay, I'd go a step further. Okay, so we put our cell phone away, fine. Which is a big deal because cell phone is the
That's what I did not say. I said just minimize your exposure.
Yeah.
I did not say put it away. That would be a stupid sentence.
Okay. Yeah, my point is this. Okay, we did put our phone away, so we removed that, but there is still microwaves and Wi-Fi's and cell towers around our houses, etc., etc., etc. Any thoughts on how we can reduce this cumulative exposure?
Yes, but it's kind of not too legal. I actually wanted to put you up a how to build my own EMP device, but the best legal way to reduce your exposure is move to countryside. Because in my house we don't have an LTE, don't have 3G. So yes, what you can do in your home is you maybe do not use a microwave. Maybe you get real food. Maybe you just don't turn on the Wi-Fi nighttime. But as I said, base stations are a real problem because you cannot put it away. It's there. And there are more studies on base stations than on cell phones, and those studies are really hurting.
Can I just follow up?
Just give him the microphone and get your drink. Move to the basement, that's a good one. Or move to country.
No, it's actually not a good idea to move to basement or to move too far away from base stations. The idea behind, or the problem there is your cell phone ramps up the energy on its...
Only when it's turned on.
Yes, right. I don't need a cell phone if I don't turn it on all day.
It's totally stupid to turn on your Wi-Fi or your cell phone while you're sleeping, because while you're sleeping you don't need reception.
Yes, that's true, but during the day.
During the day, I tell you how I do it. We don't have reception in the little village I'm living in because I live in Germany and we're lucky enough to not have reception. What I do is my cell phone is actually laid over. When you call me on my cell phone, it goes over to voice over IP, which goes to a zip soft phone client on my computer. And if I'm in the mood to have it on, then I may even answer your call. But your chances are 99% that I don't have the zip client running.
Well, I'm a younger generation than you, and I like to watch YouTube.
That is your problem, not mine. It's your balls who shrinking, not mine. Okay, with that, I think we overdraw the time. No, we're still in time. You still can ask questions. I need a second bottle. Second bottle now.
Hey, so what would be the best way to weaponize 5G base station if you're not a mobile operator?
If you want to weaponize a non-ionization base station, you need to have serious modifications on that, because you cannot, like having something what emits 0.5 watt or 5 watts up to 100 megawatts like this. So to weaponize the base station, you need to actually, if you look in the base station, you need to rebuild this piece of shit. Or you already send out base stations which are bigger. But the problem is we live in capitalism, and capitalism is a system where people try to be cheap. They don't want to waste money while producing shit. So your base station needs to be replaced to weaponize it. On the other hand, base stations have a serious impact on your health. And that is proven by millions of not millions, but thousands of medical papers. And you find them. I had actually to go, I went to I think what was allowed to view medical papers, but I had to prove that I'm a researcher, otherwise I had to pay for this information. So I just wrote them a letter that I prepare a talk on a conference, and it was already scheduled. So that was the reason why I could read the medical paper for free. But you'll find many medical papers on base stations. So is it weaponizing when you get like brain cancer? You can actually choose by yourself the answer. 5G is not bad because of the frequency. 5G is bad because of the frequency. If you understand what I'm saying.
I think that's actually a good point what you're saying, but 5G is not only because of this bad. I mean, you just showed it to us that the industry is a great owner of the 5G stuff, and they are getting more profit from it than anyone else, I think. And this is also a problematic thing because I mean, beside of the getting the radiation from it, we also are, I mean, populated to a full control of everything. I mean, this is also a criticism point I think we need to show up, and this is really also a point of 5G where we have problems with. So.
I totally agree with you. They totally can see what we do, but I do not agree with you. That's a problem if somebody makes more profit. In my opinion, if you work hard and you earn money, that's okay. That's not my problem. I'm not greedy or guilty for people who earn more money than I do, because that's okay. They work. I have no problem with this. I only have problems if they actually put the health of my children into danger. And that's why I give this talk. This talk was very dearly to me because I wanted people to understand that buying the newest shit is not always the best decision in life. Because I have children and I'm careful about this. But your point about being watched all the time, well, I said this. Yes, they can monitor you in real time.
So in my hometown we have an institute who offers 5G detox resilience yoga. Should I attend or not?
No.
Okay.
Get yourself a tinfoil hat, it's better. Actually, to be honest with you, if you ever find somebody who says that you can, through movements of your body, resiliate or actually defy a radiation which goes through walls and your skin and bones, then you know this guy is a charlatan, and there is no way to secure yourself from 5G. Or actually from microwaves. Let's don't put it on 5G. Just put it on micro and millimeter waves. As we just learned, there are satellites emitting 81 gigahertz millimeter waves because they want to find out if there's seismic movements in the Earth. And you cannot escape this. When you're in this era, you're in this era. That's the way it is. And detoxing your body from radiation by moving this way is maybe not going to work.
Put yourself in lead.
In lead. Yeah, you could put yourself in lead, but they found out lead is not good and healthy for you.
That's a different discussion.
Well, you get your drink. More questions? Last question? Last question.
I'm very clumsy, so I got this massive phone case. If I get 3 massive phone cases and put them all on the phone, am I safe?
The problem is, if you're safe, you don't have a reception. And you don't need a massive phone case, you just need one what keeps your phone from receiving and from sending. But you're still not safe because there's something what you call a base station. And the base station is like on 5G every 10 houses. And that doesn't make you safe. It doesn't matter if you have a phone with you or not. What makes you safe is going to countryside. And those 2 guys have to get a drink.
Actually, it's not a question. It's just something that I see before 20 years ago, when the first cell phone just go in my country, and it was Nokia 33, something like this, or Sony Ericsson 888. They sell size of the 5 millimeters, about 10 millimeters. They sell organic coal, press it, and you put it on a telephone, and then no radiation. That's something like this.
I usually put my telephone into a pork leg, and it doesn't have radiation.
Yeah, that was something like he said, you know, position, radiation, like this.
That's right. No. All right, we're done. I mean, we overdrew, and people want to, I know you want to drink, but 5 more minutes. Oh, we just squeezed us 5 more minutes.
We can meet up in the lawn.
She's a lady.
She's a lady, so we have to. At least you can't produce sperm, so you don't have problems.
Yes, but women have another problem. When you are pregnant, they will scan your belly, and they will use the system that also use microwaves.
Yes.
And when woman is pregnant, the doctors need to do three of that. But the limit is 5.
Yeah,
over that number is also risky. And I want to ask you, did you read the novel Thank You for Smoking, or maybe watch the movie?
I'm not into movies, and I did not read the novel since I'm unfortunately a kind of busy guy. Otherwise, I could not afford the flight to come here. But what I can tell you, I was scanned on a scanner on my way to Tokyo, and they said it's safe because it's microwaves.
Okay.
Every time, you know what's the worst job you can get is flight attendant, because you get exposed to X-ray all day long, every day when you go intercontinental. But yes, you're right, it's not the best, brightest idea in the world, but the only way you change it is change your doctor. I actually can do nothing about it anyway, and I'm only an IT guy. I'm not a PhD in medics. I'm only, as I said, a really rude IT guy. So more of the questions or less of the rakia? Who wants rakia? Who wants rakia? Then come up and get some rakia, even without a question. I'm just generous today with the money of Miloš. No question for us?
No, but I'm just wondering, since how much sperm count does this reduce?
Less than your 4G telephone.
Next question. Don't ask, just drink.
Have you made yourself some measurement about some protocols? Like, for example, is it better to have voice over Wi-Fi on your phone and place call with voice over Wi-Fi than LTE?
It's not over Wi-Fi, it's over landline. I'm stupid and stubborn enough to do K5.
Yeah, in France, landline don't exist anymore, for example, for the past 6 months.
Well, if I go voice over IP in my house, there is just a line. So we get per fiber optics the internet into our house. Internet is a little black box, as you learned. And this black box just goes through a few of those firewalls, and then it ends up in my computer, which is per cable. I don't have Wi-Fi because we have thick walls. I have an old farmhouse, so Wi-Fi won't work. So we don't have Wi-Fi, not for the, oh, I'm so scared. We don't have Wi-Fi because it just don't work. So we have everything with cables. And since it's my own house, I can just drill a hole in the wall and put a cable through it. Nobody gonna complain. You just wanted rakia, I know, but you can have it, it's easier. Where's my fucking mouse? Okay, just kill her. So you want more rakia? Come over here. Okay, it was a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for being the audience to this weird talk. reconsider your behavior with cell phones and have a nice day and a good conference.